Hi everyone, how are you? In today's video, I'm gonna implement a real application to fetch the data from the internet. So in the previous we said the most common implement for future and asynchronous programming in Flutter is the fetching data from internet or from the API. So today we will implement like this. At the end of this video, you can create like this application. You can make like this application. We have this data come from the API from the internet like this. Here we have the API. This you can just go to this website JSON placeholder and you can see a lot of example about the API. Now we will use this API and you can see here this data come from this API. I get the image, the photo from here and the ID and the title, and also for the first one, second one, and so on, and fetching in this list. So I will fetch the data from the API, from this API in the internet, and display the data in the list view in the application. So in this video you will learn a lot of things like how to using the HTTP package, how to get the data or fetch the data from the internet and working with API, and also how to using the future and async and await, also how to work with the future builder in the real application, and how to using the list view dot builder. So now from the first thing you should know here, I create a new application, new Flutter application. The first thing you should go to the pubspec.yaml because I want to import the package. I want to using the external package or external plugin to work with the internet. If you want to fetch the data from internet, you should using the plugin, external plugin called HTTP to work with API. So here just HTTP, just write the name HTTP, should be here with Cupertino like this, and you can ignore the version because this already or automatically will download the latest version or the last version. Now just package get here that means the package is get or download the package or the last version of this package HTTP. Now in the main function, the library in main function, I want to import the material, the first thing, because you need a lot of widget from the material app. Start. Also I want to import the package, the HTTP. We add the plugin and now to want to import the package. So here just HTTP http.dart, and here we want to using this class just as HTTP, for example, like this, to using HTTP. And also we want to convert the data that come from the API to convert it to the JSON. Also you should using another package here called convert, dart convert, this package. Now complete. Now I want to create a new widget, a stateful widget, not a stateless widget, because we want to build the data, to build the list view in the data here, to build the widget in the list view. This widget will rebuild depending to the data from the API. So in the runtime, at the runtime, the data or the widget will rebuild again. So not a static. Here you should using the stateful widget. So just the class here and add, for example, the name photos, for example, because here the API for photo, just say photos, because we have a photo here and information about this photos. So here photos, for example, the class should be the capital and extend from stateful widget because I want stateful widget. Here we want to implement something, just click here to override the method, and here I want to return a state. So I should create a state here. I have to create state here. So class again called, for example, anything, but here just for example photo state, because this class will store the state for stateful widget. So here extend from state and store state for what? For stateful widget. So this class. So here the type, this class photos, and here you want to build the widget just using the build function, override the build function or build method, and to build the widget here. So the first thing you should make here is to create a function I want now to create a function to get the data from internet, from the API. In the previous, make like a simulation to get the data from API or to make a time-consuming function, to create a time-consuming function, just like simulation by using the future.delay. But now here it is a real function. This function is time-consuming because take a time. So here you should add the function. So the function, for example, fetch anything, photo, for example. This function, I want to add this function to get the data from API. But before that, I need to using the main, the Flutter application should have the main function, void main function. I can make it just a raw function, just one line like this, and run app. The app should launch from the run app, and here I have the material app. The material app like a container for all application. Material app, we have in the material app we have home. In the home I want to create this photo function, the photo class. So here just photo. Now just like this. Now here I want to make this function. So I want to get the data from API. So I just using the HTTP package here. So HTTP dot get, because I want to get the data from API. So here I should add the URL API. So the URL just from here, from browser, just copy the URL. This URL or this API return this data here. This data called JSON data or JSON format. Key and value. Key and value here called object, JSON object, and all this called JSON array. So this API will return a array of JSON, like array, like a list of JSON data or JSON object. So here go again, just paste the API here. Now I have the API, HTTP. Now the API will return what? Return the response. We make a GET request to request the data from API, and the GET function will return the response. So here I can add here var response or just res. That means the response from the API. The response will be what? Will be this data here from the API. Now here I want this function to take a time. This function here or the get from the API from the internet will take a time, will take a long time. It is time consuming. So here you should using asynchronous programming. You should add async, and here to take a time to get the data from internet, I just say await here. Now just await for this function to implement and then get the response. After that I will check the data, say if response this dot status code equal 200. That means if the status code of the 200, that means okay, that means everything is good. If it is, for example, 400, that means there is error, there is a problem. 500 also there is a problem in the server, and so on. So now if it is 200, that means it's okay, everything is okay. I want to convert the response to the JSON object. So here you should using just JSON object from this package, convert. So here I want to add a data, for example, object, anything, var object equal JSON dot decode. I want to decode this response dot body, because the response, we have header and body. The body, in the body of the response you can see this data, but in the header you can see other information. Now we want the body, this data, and this data in the body will return or will come as a string. Now we want to convert it to the JSON object. You can check that, just click here, control and click to the body, and you can see it is written as string. So I want to convert the string here to the object, JSON object, and now I want to return the object. Now I return object. So this function now is time consuming function. This function will return the object, will return the JSON object after a long time or after some times, because in the future, right? So now when should we call this function? When click button, for example, and when? Of course not. Here you see here, when I just launch application or this application start working, I want to see this data. So here in the stateless widget, or sorry, in the stateful widget, we have a function called, just click here, just initial state. Initial state, just click on it here. This function, just built-in function, just override this function, initial state. That means where my application is launching, is initializing, is start working, I want to do something. For example, here I want to fetch the data. I want to call this function. Now, whenever my application is start working, this function will calling. I mean, I want to fetch the data. When I launch the application, this data will fetch it from the internet, like this here. But now I want to display the data. Now I just fetch the data, but I want to display the data. I want to create a widget to show this data. So here I want the widget that build, or I want the widget that build a widget depending on the future data. So here we have the future builder, right? So go here and you add a scaffold, and then I want to add a body for the scaffold, and center because I want to add the data in the center, and child. In the child I want to add a future builder. So explain that before. Future builder, we have what? We have a future, this data that come in the future. Which data here? I have this function, of course, fetch photo. So this data will return the object in the future, fetch photo, and then I want to build a widget depending on this data that come in the future, right? So here I have a builder. In the builder I have a context, and also I have a snapshot. Snapshot, it's a data that come from the future, from the fetch object, the JSON data, this object here. I mean this object here will return in the future. So here there's a function. So I want to check the data or the snapshot, if there is a data or not. So here if snapshot not empty, not null. If it is not null, I want to do something, return something. Or if it is null, else I want to add the circular indicator, right? So here return. If it is null, so nothing, I want to add circular progress indicator, right? Like in the previous lecture. So if it is not null, I want to build a widget now, right? Which widget I want to build? So here I want to build a list view. We have two types of list view. We have two types of list view: the simple list view and the long list view, or list view.builder. The static list view or a simple list view, that mean we're using the static or the simple list view when we know how many widget we have. I want to create a static widget, just a 3 widget, for example, just a 3 button or 3 text or something like this. But if I don't know how many widget I have, how many widget I should build, I should using the list view.builder. List view.builder will build a widget depending on data that come from the internet or from anywhere. Now here, just list view.builder, and also this list view.builder, like any builder, we have a builder. We have here item builder to build a widget. Also in the item builder we have a context, and we have index, because list view we have a list of view, we have a list of widget here. So you know the list like array should have index. Index 0, I want to add this data. Index 1, index 2, index 3, and something like this. So here, list view.builder, item builder, I want to build the item depend on the data that come from the internet, from here. So here, I want just to add return what? Here I want to add the widget, list of widget. Type of widget you can add text or anything, but here I want to add list style in the list style. So now I want this data in the list style like this. List style, and the list style here you can name it the leading, here title, here subtitle, just a function or a built-in widget that consists of from leading, title, and something like that. So here in the leading I want to add image, right? Image from API. So here in the list style I have leading. The leading is image from API, right? So I want to make it like this, circular image. So I can add here a widget called circular avatar. Circular avatar, we have background image and the image from network. So network image from the internet. And here in the network image, I want to add image here. So the image from snapshot.data, right? Because this build the widget and future, and then we have a snapshot, that means the data from API. So here just a snapshot.data, and here the index, because I have the first one, second one, eighth one. Here, for example, we have index. I want to build the method or I want to build the widget in the specific index. For example, the first one in the index 1, 0, index 0, and then index 1 and 2 and 3 and so on. So here to the API, you can see here if you make it like this, JSON, you can see it is 0. 0, we have this data. In the 1, we have this data. So we have index. So here just add the index, and also I want the image, right? So add the image in the here in the API called what? No data. The image here we have key and value. You can just write the key and you can see the value. So the image here, just copy the name of the key here for the image and paste it here. Now I will add the image here, and then we have title. For example, in the title I want to add the number, for example, or anything from here. For example, I want to add the title, so just add the title, anything. So here you should add the text, because just title text, and in the text I have also snapshot from snapshot.data, also in the specific index, and then we have title. Also we have subtitle here, also text inside it, snapshot.data in the specific index, and then here I want to add, for example, the URL, for example, or anything. You can add album or URL or anything. Now here URL, for example, just type URL. Here builder, just I add semicolon. Now I complete everything. Now just run a program. The circular avatar. Here you have problem, no such error. The method. Sorry, here in the photo stateful widget, you should return the state. I just forget this. Of course, like this. Now I just again run the application, rerun the application. Now you can see the result from here. Now you can see the first thing we have the image, and then we have the title like this, and the URL, and the list of it in the specific index. So you can see it is very easy and very simple. We just add the HTTP package and converter, and then migrate a stateful widget, and then just make a function, time-consuming function, using asynchronous programming, using asynchronous programming, using async and await, waiting to this function to complete and get the response. If the response is 200, that means it's okay. Just convert to the JSON and return the object, the JSON object. After that, call this function, the time-consuming function, in the initial state. That means whenever the application is run, start working, I want to call this function and return the object. After that, create a widget, build the widget depending on future data, so using the future builder, future data from the fetch photo, and then build the widget. We have a snapshot. If it's snapshot not empty, not null, if there is a data come from the future, the object, I want to build a widget. The widget here is a list view, because we don't know how many widget we have in this list view. So you should using the builder and item builder context, and we have index. That when I want to make an array of widget or list of widget in the specific index. The widget that I want to make here, because list view, that means list of widget. So here I add the widget, the list of widget, the widget list tile. List tile using, we have leading and title, a subtitle, and also we have trailing. So the leading, just circle image, circle avatar. This image from the internet, that means from the snapshot, from the future data, data, because I want the data, and then in the specific index, and I want the URL of the image. And then here in the title, I have also the data from internet or from API and the specific index and the title. And here I want the subtitle. I want just URL, for example. If it is null, if there is no data, I want to see the circular avatar. If there is no internet, for example, I want just to see this, or the circular progress indicator. And just like this. I hope it is useful. Thank you very much.